Hello again, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Factorio. My name is Tanis Fugit, and thank you for stopping by the Fugitive Theater. So, what are we doing today? It's a great question. Well, today we are going to take advantage of the fact that we finally discovered some crude oil and the fact that we are moving along in our tech tree, and we are going to actually start in on oil production. Now, this is going to require a couple of things. First of all, we got to get over there, right? So, obviously, the goal is to use trains. I split this whole little side area off here that that's creating a bunch of rail. So, I'm going to start setting up like a train depot. Trains are going to start moving back and forth. And we're going to be able to transport oil from here back over here where it can be processed and stuff like that. So, that's the goal. Now, we discovered this. We cleared out some biter nests over here as well in order to clear up the space. We got a little one down here that we probably also need to take care of. Also, my smog is eventually going to reach these guys as well, so that'll be thinking about taking care of them at some point as well. So with all of that, that's a lot to do, but I think that's what we have to do first. So get over here, set up the crude oil, and then move it out over here. So part of that is actually going to be, remember this down here? This was all of our, this was a bunch of guns and a bunch of radars that we moved down here so as that they could start scanning out this area, because this is what we were looking for, is the crude oil, right? Well, obviously I need to see the area around the crude oil as well. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pick this guy up, and we're going to move this whole stack of stuff, and including tearing down all this power and stuff like that. We're just going to tear this right down. And what we're going to do is we're going to move it from here, and we're just going to put it up somewhere else. We're going to put this up exactly as it is here, somewhere else. And that's going to help us sort of, explore the area around where we're headed so that we don't accidentally walk right into a big biter nest without meaning to. So speaking of biters, I haven't played this game in a little bit. I usually go a couple days between my recording sessions, and this one is no different. And I will say, though, I haven't been able to keep this game off of my mind in a while. And that's not just because it's a really good game, which it is. It's not just because I'm really, really want to actually finish a run, which I do. But actually, I don't know if this is the rest of you. The rest of you might have to tell me if this is just a me thing. But have the rest of you been dealing with insane insects, like an insane insect wave lately? Because I have been dealing with that, and it's been insane. Up here where I live, we have these things called box elder bugs. Little tiny red and black bugs that will absolutely kamikaze themselves onto your face, and they've been doing it to me like crazy, and I do not like it. I do not appreciate it. But every time one of them does it, I think about the biters in this game and just how cathartic it is for me to just run over and body slam a whole nest of them with a couple of guns, thanks to the mods that we've got here. So this game has kind of been on my mind for a while just because of that, which I know is legitimately insane, but work with me here. I'm a little bit insane. I'm a VTuber after all. You kind of have to be. It's part and parcel of the job. So here's what I'm doing. I'm running out a bit of power, and this is about where I'm going to stop, because this is where I'm going to build out my system here. I'm going to take they're actually in my inventory. They're right here. And we're going to do it something like here. 1, 2, 3, leave a space. 1, 2, 3, leave a space. 1, 2, 3. Power there and there so that it reaches everything. And then run it down over here to connect with the grid. And then we're going to put down guns. Oops. I'm very bad at this. I am legitimately very, very bad at this. Now we're going to put up some walls. Where'd all the walls that I had go? They're right here. straight up. Let's try and keep it somewhat, leaving this open in case I have to, like, get in. Not that there's any reason I'd ever have to get in. Oh, I think I just don't have enough walls here. Can I build more in my hand? I can. Let's just build more walls in my hand here. There we go, good enough. And now we can continue running this out this way. Wow, it looks like it's actually like on the coast, doesn't it? Doesn't it kind of look like it's on the coast? Like I was afraid of running into another biter camp. We might actually just be on the coast here without anything to worry about. Whoa, this is wild. Hold on. We blow up a bunch of dead trees here and try and expose. With a couple of explosives upgrades, my grenades now destroy the entire patch. By the way, we need to keep moving along this stuff. So we're going to go into plastics next. We're going to start this research. With the oil processing, we have what we need in order to get the like basic stuff started. But yeah, we are just right on the coast of like an ocean, basically. Oh, this is actually a great place to set up. And actually, with all this water nearby, I'm going to actually try and maybe create a secondary power grid starting over here. It might actually do better than like me running power all the way from the main grid. I might actually set up a whole secondary power grid out here. Because we're right on the coast. Alright, we're going to try and clear out as much of this as possible. I don't know, I can't tell if like, here's the yeah, there's like one that's like buried deep in here. I gotta try and get access to it. It's even lower than this. That's the one, I think. The rest of this, I guess, we'll just take down by hand, I guess. Actually, well, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but I'm at least to the area now with the power, and I do think what I'm going to do is, let's see, what's an offshore pump? Very cheap. Let's make an offshore pump. Let's make a couple boilers, steam engines, a few pipes. It's a little bit annoying here that there's a, well, we might just have to run it from here. These cliffs are going to make it a little bit more annoying to route some of the stuff that I want to route, but it's not, shouldn't be that big a deal. Especially if I start like here. We start here actually, and then what we can do is I can pop down a single pipe, and then we can go boiler, space boiler, put a pipe between them. Oh, except that's the thing, these need coal, and there's no source of coal near here. I didn't think about that. That's something I did not think about. You need to route coal to these things. So no, we're not going to set up a whole secondary, because we don't have the, I don't have a way of feeding coal into this efficiently, at least not right now. So we're not going to do that. So instead we're going to do a little bit of logging just to clear this out as much as we can. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this playthrough so far. It's very different doing it like this, and you know, generally I have, you know, this has sort of been a story of my whole channel so far, is that, you know, historically I'm just not good about committing large swaths of times to games. Like, I'll really enjoy a game, but you know, I can't find myself committing to it, and so I just don't end up beating it or experiencing everything that I want to experience in the games. But you know, creating content around it, making YouTube videos, seeing people are watching here and there, that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going. And I've really been, you know, I'm technically, this isn't the furthest I've ever gotten in this game, but you know, we finished other games, especially on the stream. We finished other games that I've never been able to finish before. Stuff that I've committed time to in the past, but you know, never actually cleared. That's an oil patch right there. There's an oil patch directly to my south. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to is if I do clear this completely and successfully, which, you know, again, I intend to do, I will be able to maybe play around with some of the crazy mods, because there are a handful of mods that just break my brain just looking at them, and I really want to get like into it and see how complicated they actually are. There's like the space exploration mod. There's like I can't remember the name of the mod. It's like Crassorio or something like that. That's absolutely wild. This one over here. Yeah, that's this one here. Okay. So I think that's all of them technically exposed. Can I put down the pump jacks? Do I have the material needed to make them? I can make 7 of them right now before running out of material. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I need to make 8 more. Okay, so that is going to require me to move back, I think. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and for this I'm going to set to the pump jacks. Where were they? Right there. And once we create a few of these, well, let's run back now, I think. That's probably a good idea. And let's make some more power. Ah, yes, all this stuff from fluids, all these different barrels. Fluid processing allows me to stick any of the fluids that I have access to into barrels, so I can create barrels, and you know, the recipes for filling and unfilling those barrels are all in the are all on the list now. So all those popped up as new. I need to make new pump jacks. I need to make new electric poles. Let's just queue up a whole bunch of them. So let's roll out here. Yeah, this is the edge. Oh, actually. This I gotta pay attention to as well. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of possible biters I could be annoying. I might spend some time this episode, or maybe next episode, putting up some defenses close on the closest edge to those, so that I can at least be aware of when they start attacking. And I can maybe be... I hate that if I'm holding a movement key and I hit the map button, that it like immediately starts panning the map, like there isn't like a wait for me to press the button again sort of thing. Kind of annoys me a little bit, but it is what it is. So I need the rest of the resources needed to make pump jacks, which I believe at this point really I'm missing iron more than anything else. So let's grab a bunch of iron. We're not technically fully saturated. I guess we are really fully saturating it at the far end. So let's make, I need to make 8 more pump jacks. 5, 6, 7, 8. And that actually cleared out all the copper I'm holding in my inventory. So let's grab a bunch more of that. Let's grab a bunch more of this. And I want to grab some coal so that I can make some grenades right in my inventory. It's nice to have a bunch of these kicking around. Okay. So that having been produced, let's walk our way back. Plastics is almost done. We're producing well in excess of what we need, so I'm not worried too much about power as it stands right now, although that obviously may change at some point. Yeah, this is about to touch that. I don't know, I think I've got a little bit to go. I think I'll be fine for the time being. I'm not super worried about it yet. As long as I stay vigilant on it, I don't expect to run into a situation where we get absolutely obliterated, like what happened earlier on in this playthrough, where we lost a whole bunch of stuff a couple times in a row. But I think the first thing that we ought to do is set up the fluid processing, so at least we can start that, and then we can maybe think about loading it onto loading it onto trains and getting it back for actual processing. Because here's the way this actually works out, right? If I sort of go into tech to sort of pause this here for a second. If I look at the next science, this is what we're working towards, right? Blue science. So we need to start making this. What does the blue science packs needs? Needs sulfur, advanced circuits, and engine units. Now we're already working on engine units. I actually don't remember if we actually automated engine units yet or not, but we got to do that at some point. But engine units are needed. But on top of that, also advanced circuits and sulfur. Now, advanced circuits, as we know, needs plastic. We sort of talked about this last time. So if I look at here, advanced electronics, this needs plastic. So the plastics that we're working on right now, plastic is coal and petroleum gas. So what is petroleum gas? Petroleum gas comes from basic oil processing. This takes crude oil into an oil refinery, which is a new building that this tech unlocked, and it basically cracks that oil into the petroleum gas that's inside of it. And then that petroleum gas is pumped out in pipes, right? Though that petroleum gas can be mixed with coal in a chemical plant in order to produce plastic bars. Plastic bars are then put on belts, just like iron and steel and copper, right? Once we have plastic bars, the plastic bars are put into a regular production machine, a regular assembly machine, along with copper cables and electronic circuits. We already know how to make electronic circuits. We've got them. We're making them in order to make our we're automating the production of inserters in order to make the green science. So we already know how to do that. So we can make a bunch of those, make a bunch of copper cables, and then the plastic bars. That's what we need to make the advanced circuits. So that's the process just to get to plastics. Now, what about sulfur? Sulfur is the other thing that you need. Sulfur is down here, and sulfur is actually created from water and petroleum gas in a chemical plant. So again, petroleum gas and coal go together to make plastic. Petroleum gas and water go together to make sulfur. And sulfur goes right on a belt, just like plastic does. But sulfur, sulfur can then be sent down in order to make the blue science, right? It's a component in the blue science on its own. But it's also used to make sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid requires some sulfur, an iron plate, and some water. This is this uses a bunch of water in the sulfur and sulfuric acid. So why we need sulfuric acid, right? Sulfur is what we need in order to make the science packs. So why do we need sulfuric acid? Well, it's because this leads down into further techs, like batteries, I think is the main one. Yeah, batteries need sulfuric acid as well as iron and copper plates in order to be made. And batteries are important for all the high-tech electrical stuff that we're going to try and make in the future. I do believe that sulfuric acid is also useful for some other things further down the line. I mean, you need it to make batteries, and you need batteries to make a bunch of other stuff. So in the end, it's a very useful sort of mid product. Sulfur is useful in its own right just to make science, but sulfuric acid is on its way to making things like batteries and stuff like that. And eventually, we're going to make our way down to purple science, and the purple science is going to require electric furnaces and productivity module. And the electric furnaces, they just need advanced circuits, and the productivity module also just needs advanced circuits. So none of that's important to go up to the next science. By that I mean specifically the sulfuric acid line. The sulfuric acid line is not necessary to get down to the next tech, but it is needed to make batteries, and batteries go into all kinds of stuff like our laser guns, which eventually we can get laser turrets. See, that needs a bunch of batteries. Batteries are also needed for all kinds of different robotics stuff. And as anybody else who plays this game will tell you, robotics are very important to the mid and late part of the game. Anyway, we're going to keep moving over here. I've overshot my target ever so slightly. Okay, so again, I'm going to try and put down all these pump jacks correctly. I see the markers for them. They're lit up in green here. I'm gonna put one there. I'm gonna put one here. The yellow or the blue arrow represents where it's going to output. So it's not super important because you can just sort of ring these in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's this group of 5 done. So then there should be one further down here. Yeah, okay. We're in the right place here. We're figuring this out correctly. It's just more efficient to like try and line up the arrows. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's because this one up here isn't actually in. This is the 11th. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 up here. 1, 2, and then 3, 4. Good. 3, and then one more is being made in my inventory as we speak. And then we're just going to need to make a whole buttload of pipes. Let's go ahead and make like something like 60 pipes. I'm actually going to go ahead and cancel the grenades that are being made, and we'll queue them up after the pipes, because the pipes are more important right now. So here's the pipes. So let's just start. Basically, we just want to join these into a single network. That's the whole sort of bread and butter here. We just want to make these into a single coherent network. As efficiently as possible. I say as I immediately do things that are very inefficient, as always. You're just gonna have to accept that that's just how this goes, where I'm gonna say we need to do this efficiently, and I care about efficiency, and then I do shit like this. That's just gonna happen. I need to make, we're gonna cancel this. I need to make, I need to make production chains for, I need to make production machines for these pipes. Making a lot of pipes is important for the mid part of the game as you're starting to connect all of this, all this stuff together. Actually, there's another spot that we didn't get to. That's right. There it is. Okay. So we got that connected. Awesome. Let's just run this straight across, I think, and then up. And then let's run this like across and down. And this guy, oh, he is not actually going to collide with that tree, which I was actually thought was going to happen. Let's keep making these. And then straight down. Awesome. That's all of them now are on a single network. Okay. They're all connected to each other now. So the question becomes, so the crude oil, basically crude oil is not needed for anything. That's an important, like, key thing to keep in mind, is that the actual crude oil itself has very little in the way of use, right? It's pretty much just used as the building block for the stuff that you're going to make out of it, right? Like that's the main thing. So you make a bunch of useful stuff out of it, but it itself, not all that incredibly useful. So if you just give me a moment here, I'm powering up these jacks and I will finish up my thought process with regards to that, that thought. Basically, what that means is that I don't really need to send the crude oil anywhere, right? In fact, it's not very useful for me to try and send the crude oil itself anywhere. The crude oil itself, which is filling up these pipes, there's a lot of pipes for it to fill up, so the pump jacks are working their hardest to fill this up. The first thing that's actually important to mix with something else is, if we were to look at the, again, making these chemical plants that can make this, is the petroleum gas, right? The petroleum gas can be sent over in order to make plastic. It can be sent over in order to make sulfur. And both of those need things. Now, since we're by the water, we can actually do all of our sulfur processing right here, right? We can actually set up our sulfur processing right here. And in fact, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up offshore pumps over here, pumping in water, and we will have, I think I'm going to set it up like maybe right here. I think I might try and break down some of these bigger rocks that are going to be in our way. And I might try and set it up something like right here is where our like chemical plants are going to be. Like I might try that. Yeah. So let's set up an oil refinery. Let's just build this right in our inventory. This is going to require a few intermediate devices to be created, and then it's going to create our first oil refinery. So I'm actually going to grab some pipes here, which were not used for that creation, and I'm going to go ahead and like extend out. Let's break down some of these rocks, actually. Let's just break them down right out here. So I'm going to go ahead and just extend this straight up a bunch. We're going to start from like right here. So that got created. So now we've got our oil refinery. So the oil refinery, as you can see, the yellow things as always, or the, again, weird, me and colors are weird. The blue arrows, some of them are pointing in, like the ones at the bottom are pointing into the machine, the ones at the top pointing out of the machine. That's how you know input versus output. Very important to keep your eye on. And if I were to place this right here, see it itself needs power, so we can run power straight up from here. And that's just close enough to interact with it, so it'll work. The oil refinery, all it needs is crude oil, and it will start producing petroleum gas. So if I go ahead, I'm just going to set like, let me make a few more pipes again. So if I just set some pipes and I set it in this output here, and I set it just going straight out. Yeah, we're going to break down some of this stuff. And again, I'm leaving a few like squares. Like I could just go, you know, like I don't need to actually send this 2 or 3 out, and this doesn't need to go all the way up, but I'm going to leave an opportunity for me to like branch this out to different chemical plants, right? Create like a bunch of chemical plants, right? So right now, if I were to take this and I were to tell it that it's basic oil production, it is now, yep, it is importing crude oil, and it is outputting petroleum gas, and it'll fill up these few pipes very quickly. And then once it fills up, it'll stop producing, and then we're done, right? So if I take a look at production, actually, production's down quite a bit. I imagine that's because there's a lot of, oh, because I haven't been researching. Wait, did I finished? Oh, I must have finished plastics and then never started another research. That's entirely my bad. So we're gonna go into sulfur processing. Yeah, it's because all of the like the nothing in the research is being done, so none of the packs are being produced, so none of the intermediate products are being produced, yada yada yada. That's why that was like that. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So we're gonna take this. I did make an offshore pump because I thought we were gonna do power over here. So let's actually run this like here. I'd say here. We're gonna pipe water out of there. Yeah, and that'll be able to come straight over here. Okay. So we got water being pumped from the pump. It's filled up this, and there we go. And this is now full of petroleum gas. So sulfur we can't actually produce yet. So, well, we can, however, well, I actually don't, I believe I don't have the material necessary to plunk down. Right, I don't have enough steel to make a chemical plant. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back home. We go all the way back home. Oop. I thought it looked like it was maybe moving. All this stuff is going to start to piss off the neighbors as well, by the way. Ooh, big 30 million coal up there. Is that our first major coal patch? No, it's our second, but at 30 million, my God. That's going to be a pretty fair uranium ore patch as well. Definitely quite a number of resources available once we can get over to them. So with that, I think what we're going to do, so there's a couple of schools of thought here, and there's a couple of like conflicting thoughts in my own brain, right? I could take the petroleum gas from here, ship it down here, and use the fact that we already have existing coal infrastructure down here in order to make the plastic that I need, right? That'd be fine. Nothing wrong with that. Or instead of that, I can bring coal over here and drop off coal, make plastic here, and then ship plastic back. One of those is beneficial because it only requires moving solid objects, right? Like you're moving coal over and you're moving plastic back, which are both solid objects. One of them requires you to move liquids because you're going to grab fluids, because you're going to grab petroleum gas and you're going to move it down here, which means you're only transporting one kind of good, and you don't have to worry about like cross-contaminating your lines on accident by setting it up incorrectly. And I'm just not sure which one I want to go for. I think in my heart of hearts, what I want to do is pick up coal somehow, send coal over, have it produced, and then do all the chemical work in one place. Except that there will eventually be the need to transport sulfuric acid back. So I think I've sold myself on the idea of I need steel, by the way. That's what I'm over here for. I'm over here to grab some steel. I think I'm gonna make another oil refinery. I don't actually know the production like levels here. Hold on, let me try something. Let me check something rather. So this produces 45 petroleum gas every 5 seconds. This produces 45 petroleum gas, and then the plastic creation process. So every second, this makes 90 petroleum gas, right? And then the plastic production takes 20 every second. So one chemical plant can support 4 plastic making plants. 4 plastic making plants produces 8 every second. And the blue science, but it needs to be made into advanced circuit, so it's not direct. The advanced circuit, so 8 are being made every second. This needs 2 every 6 seconds. So in 6 seconds, if 8 are being produced every second, then in 6 seconds, we're making 48 every 6 seconds. So we can actually support 24 advanced circuit productions off of every single chemical plant. That's quite good. And then these produce an advanced circuit every 6 seconds. So if I had 24 of them, it would be producing 24 of them every 6 seconds, which would be equivalent to producing 1 every 4 seconds. So it's, no, producing 4 per second, sorry. It's equivalent to producing 4 of them per second. So producing 4 of them per second, this needs 1 every 8 seconds. So that can produce a ton. I don't feel like I need more than 1 producing. Yeah, okay. I don't feel like I need more than 1 oil refinery producing for plastics and 1 producing for sulfur at any given time, at least not in the early part of the game. And then I can do, I'm going to make 4 chemical plants just to start off, and then I will need to, actually, so now let's figure out, so that's 4. So let's figure out what the process is for sulfur. Sulfur requires 30 petroleum gas every second. Again, this produces 40, this produces 90 a second. So that can support 3. So 3 chemical plants making 6 sulfur a second. Six sulfur a second can, I mean, that can produce just an infinite amount of these, like an insane number. So yeah, again, only 1 and 3, and I can even break off a whole bunch of that into making, yeah, sulfuric acid, and I won't run out of, I won't hit a wall with that. Okay, so I think that's perfect. I'm going to run a little, I'm going to run south here. I'm going to zoom out real far so that as soon as I see my production line, I can go ahead and open this up and take some more rail, because we're going to start making a whole bunch of that. The next question is, did I actually automate my production of engine units, which is what I wanted to do? I have to remind myself, did I actually do that? And the answer is yes, I did. So, no, that's guns. Sorry. This, yes, I still did anyway. So, I'm going to take 50 of these. What do I actually need in order to... Sorry, it's... What is this? What did I just do? That's what I did. Okay. If you press R on a belt, you actually rotate it in place, which can cause all kinds of mess to happen. Sorry. Okay. Trying to like figure out what I forgot like the hotkeys for a second there. I'm not sure why. So we're gonna go, I have 4 of those. We're gonna make 3 more. And let's see, I need to make train. Yeah, I need to make a locomotive for sure. That takes 20 engine parts. I had 50. And I'm not gonna do cargo wagon. I'm actually going to do... I'm going to be moving around liquids mostly. So I actually need liquid, which I believe is actually its own tech, which I've not unlocked yet. Yeah, fluid wagons. So now we've just unlocked sulfur processing. We now have basically everything we need to move towards the chemical science pack once we get the advanced electronics. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock fluid wagons. so that we can start transporting all the liquid. I'm gonna grab a bunch of like resources here. I didn't need to go, those were bricks. I didn't need to grab those, but it's whatever. I'm just gonna grab a whole bunch of these because I don't know what I'm gonna need, and I want to have a full inventory full of stuff. We're gonna start laying down rail. So there's a small offshoot that's coming out this way, which is off of this sort of southern... This is not really ideal, I have to admit. I could, like, combine... I guess for the time being... I could do something a little weird, like split this off here. This is gonna look really spaghetti and awful, but I think it's gonna be okay. We're gonna go under. Come around this way. And then we're gonna take a spot of this. We're gonna go up this way. These guys are gonna join up around here. And what all this is doing is making sure that I'm taking some from this line and some from this line. All this will be cleaned up once these guys are no longer producing coal. Once this coal patch is picked up and I can tear down all these miners and reroute all this, this is all going to be like a big train stop. And the train is going to be dropping off coal from like this big mine up here or this big mine up here. This one first, obviously, and then we move to this one. And it'll be dropping it off for all the things that use it. But for right now, this is where it's at. So this is just going to run over, and this is going to be our first train station. So if I start with... Unfortunately, the other thing is that this wants to expand out this way. So actually, I think the first train station is going to be more like out here somewhere, I think. Yeah, it has to be more like out here somewhere, I think. To give that the space that it needs. And what we're going to do... for the time, so this is where we start to get into stuff I'm not particularly good at, is routing trains. This is actually something I am pretty poor at, all things considered. I'm gonna make some grenades because we're gonna have to blow up this area here. All right. Well, actually, before I get too far into this, I'm going to put a cut into this video, and we'll talk about this next episode. So for now, thank you guys very much for stopping in. You can sort of see already sort of what the idea is, right? Train's going to come in this way. It's going to be parked here. It's going to pick up a bunch of coal, and it's going to send it down the way. Or rather, hold on. No, we want to do fluid wagons. I think I'm confusing myself. Hold on. Let me think for a second. Let me really think about what I want to do here, and then I will get back to you guys, okay? I'm going to decide exactly what kind of train I'm going to use, what that train is picking up, and all that good stuff. So give me a minute, and I'll see you guys at the top of the next episode, all right? Thank you guys for stopping by the Fugitive Theater. My name is Tanis Fugit, as always. You know, do all the regular YouTube stuff, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this stuff. Going to be recording some other cool games coming up here soon as well, and I want to get this... do more cool stuff with this playthrough as well. So thank you guys very much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.